I asked you guys for questions on Facebook on any topic, and I got a bunch, so let's take a look. The first question is from Mandy. Mandy says, if you could only use one lens, what would it be and why? Mandy, I would go for a normal lens, so 50 millimeter on full frame or 35 millimeter on crop sensor. That's probably going to be the most popular answer to this question. I go through phases though. My 24 millimeter is another favorite, and I die without my 70-200. Now let me pick on this question just a little bit. These cameras that we use, these DSLR cameras, are designed to interchange lenses. That's one of the main reasons to buy one of them. So multiple lenses is the name of the game. The next question is from two people. Jeremy and Gavin asked this question about being in a photographic rut or, losing your photographic mojo. How do I reignite that passion or, get through it, especially if I'm running a business? I've talked about this before. There are lots of things that you can do. Put away your camera for a time until you feel the urge to take pictures again, or go to a museum or experience the great outdoors, maybe without a camera. Or just shake things up. Do something that you don't normally do with your photography. Try a new style or go somewhere you haven't been. Our next question is from Steve. Steve says, Arizona probably has roller derby. You should get out and photograph some. By the way, sent you some of my shots, or one of my shots, from a game I attended Saturday night. Have you shot much indoor sports? I have seen that there's roller derby in town, but I haven't shot all that much indoor sports. Some here and there. I've done it from time to time when I have the 70-200 f2.8 lens, or even a prime like my 85 millimeter will do the job very well for me. And the next question is from Raymond. Raymond asks, if you were going on a vacation this year, where would you go? Oh, well, it's been a while. It's been a while since I've been on a vacation. It's been a while since I've been to the beach, so probably someplace sandy. Right now, though, I only have this tiny beach. The next question is from Randy. Randy says, what's the best setup to shoot cars and or motorcycles? Like while they are, say, at a show, or a vehicle that's all done up at home? Well, there's no one best setup for anything. For this, I would go for a fast lens so that I could avoid flash, too many reflections on those shiny cars. The most critical part is to look at as many photos of cars and motorcycles as you can. Learn to emulate the style of those photos that you like, but don't ever hesitate to try a new or different angle, even if you haven't seen it done before. Just explore and create. Don't beat yourself up for the ones that don't quite work out. Learn from what works and what doesn't, and then continue to go with what works and tweak and refine your approach. My next question is from Alan. Alan says, in your opinion, which single lens is the best lens to use in a studio? None of them. Or rather, all of them. Choice of gear always depends upon your goal. Like, I use my 85 millimeter quite a bit in the studio, but on any given day with any given goal, that can be any lens. My next question is from Michael. Michael says, if you have an itch on a ticklish spot on your foot, how do you scratch it? With this. Next question is from Maher. Maher says, favorite pizza toppings? Favorite pizza toppings? Black olives and artichoke hearts, or maybe bell peppers. Oh my gosh, now I want pizza. Next question is from Saul. Saul says, ever try archery? Would you like to? No, I haven't tried archery, but I would try. I could be like Robin Hood or a warrior princess. My next question is from Juan. Juan says, I have a Nikon D5000, a ProMaster 7500 EDF digital flash, and Photix Strato 2 wireless trigger set. Can I/how in the world do I do what's in this video? And he put a link. Juan is talking about creating a low-key look with a black background without having an actual black backdrop. I have a video where I talk about tips for just that. I also have done a number of low-key shoots and have more detailed videos for my VIPs on those. Next question is from John. John says, I bought the D3300 with the kit lens, f3.5 to f5.6 VR2. I'm assuming the 18-55, and I'm still learning it. My question is, am I looking to take photos of the night? I am looking to take photos of the night skies and stars. With this lens, can I get the stars in motion fairly well? I think you're wanting to capture light trails, and as long as you have a tripod to steady the camera, you can certainly do it. It's a great, cool project that can be done with almost any DSLR regardless of cost. You'll want to use bulb mode to make a very long exposure though. Next question is from Cleo. Cleo says, any brothers/sisters? If so, older or younger? Yes, I have a younger sister. Her name is Barbie. She's tiny, but lovable. Okay, just kidding. I do have a sister though. She actually sort of looks like this. Next question is from Scott. Scott says, what is your favorite camera bag to hold all of your gear? I have 3. My first favorite is my Camelback, and it's not really designed to be a camera bag at all, but I can put a lens in a lens bag and drop it right in while I'm hiking around, and even put my DSLR in there if I need to. My other 2 bags are actual camera bags. I have this big low pro slingshot for when I need to carry lots of gear, and I have this Timbuktu Snoop bag, which holds less than the low pro slingshot, but it does also carry my laptop. Next question is from Juan. Juan says, why is my 70-200 2.8 not long enough? Long enough for what? Ken says, it is said pictures should be viewed in the light in which they are taken. What's your view? A tall order, methinks. I'm not big on rules like that, and that one seems a little silly anyway. The word should is a big red flag for me. The moment I hear should, I want to do the opposite of whatever comes next. Next question is from Mark. Mark says, I have some lenses from my film days. They connect to my DSLR. Your thoughts? My thoughts are that's awesome. Shoot, shoot, and shoot with them. I'm a big fan of older tech. I have a few of the older Nikon AF lenses that I enjoy shooting with, and they're pennies on the dollar compared to the latest and greatest. With your older lenses, why spend all sorts of money on new stuff if the oldies are still getting it done? John says, what is your favorite film camera to shoot with? Do you ever shoot film? I shoot film from time to time. I do love my old Nikon FG. And Dave asks, how do you trigger the camera for your non-iOS selfies? The ones where I'm not using my phone. I like to use the interval timer. The camera shoots and shoots while I make funny faces. And Jeff says, I'd like your thoughts on geotagging, hardware and software. I love the map view in Adobe Photoshop Lightroom. I often find myself off the grid and can't rely on the cellular network for information. I have the Nikon GP1 for my Nikon D600, which works fine, but seems to take too long to sync with the satellites. I also travel with other cameras which don't have GPS capabilities. Any experience and recommendations for devices which log GPS data and the software and process to write the GPS info to the images once home? Well, this isn't something I've done, but there is software that will sync a GPS log with the timestamps on your phone. This lets you use practically any GPS without having to connect anything to your camera. All that said, I don't have recommendations, but there are a few brands out there. One interesting solution is the iFi Mobi card. The card sets up a Wi-Fi connection between the memory card and your phone. It sends the images to your phone as you capture them, and the phone's own GPS geotags the photos. You don't need a cellular connection to do it, just the GPS in your phone and the ad hoc network formed between the iFi card and your phone. I actually show you how to use it and how I did it in my video here. Next question is from Banked. I'm thinking of buying a 70-200 f2.8 Tamron or Sigma, but I don't know if you should go for a new or used one. Used is so much cheaper, but is it smart to buy a used? I'm using a Canon 7D. Buying used can be a great idea. However, if I'm buying used, I always make sure to get my hands on it and actually use it. Like, I'll bring my camera body and a memory card and actually take photos with the lens prior to handing over the cash. And Chandler says, why do FX sensors have a shallower depth of field than DX? Well, the sensor itself doesn't have any depth of field at all. It's all about the lens you're using and the distance to the subject. With the same lens at the same distance, depth of field will be the same regardless of sensor, but the composition will appear different. Depth of field changes, though, when you move further or closer to the subject. With a 50mm on DX, I back up from the subject compared to 50mm on FX. This changes the depth of field. Ken asks, what is your primary lens? Oh, I don't have a primary lens. It all depends upon what I'm doing. And even then, I like to change things up. John asks, please do a video about tungsten lights or a more detailed video on continuous lighting. I have a few videos on continuous lighting, most recently this one. However, I do have a bunch of detailed videos on the setups that I use with my different lights for my VIPs, and that does include continuous lighting for those shoots. Oliver asks, I've been searching for the perfect wide-angle lens for a long time now. My budget is not that big, so maybe you have some tips on buying some older lenses from analog times. I don't need the best quality in the world, I just want to have this point of view with my camera. You know what? My suggestion would depend upon your camera. However, in general, looking at older lenses is a great idea. I particularly like my 24mm f2.8D on my full frame body. If you would send me an email to secrets@snapchick.com with your body and really how wide you're looking for, I can help you more. Jason says, which comes first, 70-200 f2.8 or the full frame body? Currently in a D3200 with a Nikon 50mm f1.8G and Tamron 70-300 f4 to f5.6. I don't know, why do you want the 70-200 or the full frame body? I typically suggest purchasing lenses before a new body, but it really all depends upon your goal. If you email me, I'd be happy to help you out. Jim asks, what do you consider your aha moment in photography? Oh, that's a toughie. I'm not sure I have one aha moment. I can say that I specifically remember being out with my neon yellow film camera at a park when I was in elementary school. And then I specifically remember the day I quit my 9-to-5 job to be a photographer full-time. That's a good question, Jim. Thanks. Those memories make me smile. Andrew asks, I am new to photography. I have a D3000 and 18-55, 55-200, and 50mm f1.8. How can I make the best of the gear I have? Use them. Seriously, use it all as much as you can. If you experiment with your camera settings and your shooting locations, you'll figure out what you like to use where. John asks, most used filters, what are they and why? Lens filters or post-processing filters? I'll answer both. With lenses, I use cheap UV filters to protect many of my lenses. A circular polarizer is great too if you're working around water or other reflective surfaces. For post-processing, I have to say that my favorite is using Snapseed on my iPad or my iPhone. For me, the whole point of software filters is to have fun, and photo editing on my iPad is super fun. On my Mac, I use Aperture primarily, and I really like the Nik plugins like Color Efex Pro, Silver Efex Pro, and their other filters. Aaron says, what about a hindsight session? Things you wish you knew about your camera or taking pictures or lighting. Something you could tell yourself if you went back in time. Just one thing to tell yourself. You guys have some good questions, some good thought-provoking questions today. If there was one thing that I could go back and tell myself, it is to shoot more when I was younger. I don't come from an artistic family, though my family is absolutely awesome. So I didn't really know that it was okay to even want to do that. So I kind of shied away from it until I was older. Leroy says, hi SnapChick, I'm down and out for the past 2 weeks with a very bad sprained ankle. I have torn ligaments in my foot and it's black and blue some, but it's healing up kind of slow. Takes time for it to go away, but I will be back on my feet in the near future and take care. Yuck, Leroy, take care and get well soon. Mike says, why don't you let me shoot you next time you're in the Nashville area? You totally get making an image. Let's make some. Thanks for the offer, but I don't model for other people. Tori says, what is your current song that you keep playing on the radio or in your mind? Who is it by and why do you like that song? Oh my. I am so into Happy by Pharrell. I could listen to it over and over and over and over. I just absolutely love it. It is an upbeat song and it's all about being happy. And you know what? If there is anything that I've learned in this world is that, you know what? Just be happy. That's it. Thanks for all the questions, you guys. You guys had some really good thought-provoking questions today. So I do these Q&As about once a month or so. So look for the post on Facebook next month for my call for the slew of questions. And in the meantime, you know, you guys can always ask me questions on Facebook or YouTube or email. Let me know. Thanks again.